What's up, everybody? Welcome to Daytime Talk After Dark. My name is Al Jackson. That's not important. What is important is that I'm joined by my three favorite ladies. Yes, Sam, Tori, Erica. Erica, you came in on a magic carpet. You just came in out of nowhere.
I did.
How are you? Talk to us.
I did.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, that's what we sound like. I'm like, things are just like really moving for my production company, Comeback TV Presents. And so we have clients and there's like a lot going on. So I was doing stuff all day and I didn't even I'm no makeup.
Looks amazing.
I'm let me just throw something on and hurry up. So
I don't want to make things weird, but I saw Erica's getting successful, so I started my own company to usurp her. It's called Came Back TV. She's coming back. We're already there. We already came back. So.
You did it before it was cool.
She got a little healthy competition over here, girl. We're so proud of you. Tori, speaking of proud, yes, my girl.
I watched it.
Talk to us all. For anybody that doesn't know, shout out to our owls that are here joining us. Shout out to Julia and ELC213. That sounds like an old black group from the 90s.
They had good songs, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah.
I'm down with ELC. So, Tori, talk to us. You were on TYT, The Damage Report.
The Damage Report.
You're a loyal viewer to the Damage Report, by the way.
I do. I watch the Damage Report every day.
Isn't that crazy?
Every single day.
So thanks to Sam here, who was on the Young Turks and really knows them and is good friends with them. We hooked up with Brett at one point, and then I got in the mix, and I really wanted to just be anywhere on that program.
Perfect for Tori.
Oh, I was like, let me be on. And so we spoke on TBL with that guy, John.
Idarola.
I want to get her Idarola, and he is at the DNC, and we kind of hit it off, and they asked me to be on, and I was on today.
And she was so good.
And I was like, I was told Sam, I was like, I'm really worried about being rusty. And they go hard at the politics. I mean, it's all politics all the whole time. And I think I did well.
And I have to say, the Young Turks is intimidating because they live and breathe politics.
They know
you
their
cannot
stuff.
go on the Young Turks and just know 70% of politics.
No.
You need to live and breathe it, and you need.
That's Tori.
Yeah, it was hardcore, dude.
And you need to have a strong opinion.
Yeah.
But you need to also, I mean, you even see it with John, with Brett. They all have a sense of humor as well.
Yeah.
So it's not if you're not familiar with the Young Turks, yes, they are a progressive network, but all of them are nerdy and goofy. And it's just, Tori, I hope you guys can go back and watch. Go watch the Damage Report.
It's on the internet. You can go back and watch.
My dad goes, how can I get on the YouTube? Is anyone allowed on the YouTube?
Look at Lisa said she did a good job.
Oh, Lisa, you're the
She was talking about something
so
else.
good.
She was talking about something else.
Yeah,
but anyway, I
you were
was so
hilarious
thankful
and smart. And
man, do I hope I get a call back. My self-esteem was a good hit.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Did you watch it back yet?
No.
You should.
Okay. I felt a little... too. Have you ever been where you watch yourself back and you're too close to the camera?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh. But I think I'll watch it back. But I really had a great time.
I will say this, and I don't know if you guys feel the same, but there's I feel like Tori's coming back. Like there's a light around you now.
Yep.
You've been obviously down for a couple months. And
definitely.
That's a very natural human cycle, but it's good to see my girl back.
Thank you, my love.
Speaking of my girl,
Thank
the other
you.
person dressed like a stagehand
I
in
know.
a community theater.
We were all
triplets.
What are these
black
called?
turtlenecks.
Oh yeah, you do it too, Erica.
all
I should be like
triplets.
beat poet. And then I was in the coffee shop.
What's the next line?
And I told her not to talk
At all.
And to turn on.
at all. That was good.
Well, I did a show here locally, and there was a young comic, young black dude, and he had this whole rant about black poetry and how it's just like you're trying to get with a girl, and the person that goes up is like, the back of your hand is the pain of my child. He's like, I'm on a date here. It's like so great. It was so great.
That is a funny bit.
Yeah, it was really good.
How about you, my man?
Well, I'm good, but I want to talk to our other community theater player here. Sam, what's going on with you? What, you sipping on a little...
I'm sipping on, I'm in dry January, so I'm sipping on, well, actually I'm in damp, even though I haven't had a drink. They call, if I were to go to dinner and had a glass of wine, I would have a glass of wine because I don't really drink alcohol that much.
She doesn't,
anyways.
no.
For me, because of the holidays, I felt like I had too much wine and champagne. I just wanted like a little bit of a clean slate. So I'm drinking Breeze or Brez. Not an ad.
It's Breeze. It's
Can you imagine?
Brez.
Is it Brez?
It's BREZ.
Yeah, Breeze.
Okay,
They're trying
Breeze.
to find a cool way to say Breeze.
And I love it because it's lion's mane, CBD, and a little bit of THC. And I love it. Just 2 milligrams.
There we go.
Just enough.
Just enough.
So
just enough to get behind the wheel of a car after this.
No, you don't feel much on one. You'll
No,
feel a little
the
bit off
colors
at
on the
2.
stoplight is brighter.
No.
That
No.
is
People
red.
giving me the finger are nicer.
They're little cans.
Yes.
But yeah, and then I'm still working at 9 News. I'm going on almost a half a year. Can you believe that?
That's crazy.
5 months and some
That
change.
is insane.
Okay, but that's not a thing to celebrate.
5 months and some
No,
change.
you celebrate 6 months. We can
months is
celebrate a
pretty
year,
big.
but you
That's
can't. No, you can't.
crazy
If I
to
said come
me.
over, I'm celebrating my 5-month anniversary to being my next birthday.
It just-
Would you come over?
No.
No,
it's
but
not
it
the time.
feels crazy that I've been there that long. And
That's crazy.
yeah, I just, plugging away,
Yeah.
know how to like do things I never thought I would know how to do when it comes to like producing and logging and tracking and writing scripts. So it's
Fantastic.
very
Your
fulfilling.
skill set has got to be.
Oh,
you
my
can
skill
do
set is
everything.
360.
Crazy.
All right,
Yep.
There we go. Mm-hmm. All right.
Or is it 180?
360.
Okay.
Yes,
Why would it be
360.
one?
Because then you're back at where you
Well,
were.
it's all encompassing.
Yeah, thank you,
Okay.
Erica.
I feel like she
Circle.
turned
Thank
a
you.
circle, turned a right hand. Okay.
That would mean that she lost half of her skill set if it was only 180.
I didn't do well in geometry.
Okay. By the way, geometry kicked my ass.
So how are
I
you?
kicked my
I don't-
It
ass.
killed me.
It
Yeah.
I got
I know
a D.
Ooh.
And I've
Yeah.
never gotten a D. I remember that. It said, see me after class, 4th grade, Joan.
Scary.
Yeah. Sorry.
4th
Joan.
grade geometry.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Joan's my teacher. We call them by their first name.
Oh,
So how are you, Al? You've been doing shows left and right. I've been watching
Been
you.
doing a lot of shows. Come out and see me
31st?
this Friday, the 31st at the Rise Theater if you're here in
Yay!
Denver. But yeah, I'm getting ready to shoot an hour and hopefully submit it to Netflix and get started on another batch of material. I never
Put
realized
it out there.
how much. It's weird. I was leaving a show a couple weeks ago. It was freezing cold Friday night. It was in a bar, a sushi restaurant, and I just remember leaving and being like, I forgot how much I love stand up.
Yeah.
Like it was just like
The work of it.
just the work and just
Sure.
like I love performing. I love it. I forgot how much I loved it because when you have a day job, it's like, oh, I'm 47, I don't want to get off this couch, but like when it's your job, it's different. So I'm excited. And I'm excited to do the show with you guys because we have a lot to talk about.
Okay.
Let's briefly kind of put a bow on a story you've been following for the last month. Pete Hegseth, the controversial nominee to be the head of the Department of the Defense Secretary, was confirmed. So, Erica, what do you think about Pete Hegseth's confirmation? What does that say?
She's so much to say.
When Erica
I
starts with
were-
"you,"
Yep.
Yes. That's also like what Anthony doesn't want to hear. Like when you come in, Erica goes, sit down. That'd be like just my worst fear.
Anthony is Erica's husband.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Somebody wrote honey child.
Yes, Damiana, honey child. I feel like I am a faithful citizen of this planet. If I were walking down the street and I saw a dumpster fire, I would do what was in my power to eliminate said dumpster fire because we don't want it to spread to, houses and garages and stuff. But if that's the same dumpster fire that I already told them, don't put the gasoline and then strike the match in the dumpster, and then there becomes a fire in said dumpster, I don't know what my responsibility is at this point. What do I say? What do I
Erica's
do?
speaking of the "let them" theory that I sent
Mel
to you by
Robbins.
Mel Robbins.
I
Literally,
mean-
that's the "let them" theory.
What is the let them theory?
After you've done X, Y, and Z,
Which she has.
and somebody does what they're going to do based on their own free will or whatever it may be, you let them. You
But you also insulate yourself because you've already said everything that you could possibly say. Clearly, you saying more in these situations is only the catalyst for them to go the opposite direction of what you're saying. So what am I to say? I do know that I've insulated myself.
What do you get? Like paper towel? How do you insulate it? What do you get in there? Bubble wrap?
It's foam.
Foam?
Mostly foam. Tori, I feel like you have a slightly different opinion. What do you think about his confirmation? What did you think as a daughter of politics?
I thought that this, he's underqualified. I think Peter Hegseth, if you don't know, is pretty underqualified for what he's about to do. However, and I think he has an alcohol problem. And I think that was made clear. I think a lot of people in Washington, D.C. have an alcohol problem,
But
right?
I think that was what really stood out to people is like, we're all alcoholics. And this guy's they were saying like he's a 10 a.m.
Yeah, he's had to be pulled out of the job, lifted out of the job. He's had at parties with the job. He's had to be carried off. It's an issue for him. But I know politicians, and that's an issue for many, many, many politicians.
Anytime you're carried off and it's not a football field and you picked a field goal, you've had too much to drink.
It's like you can fail forward, but this is more like a stumbling forward.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
you belched forward. Now, somehow this guy is going to get in to be our defense secretary. My biggest worry, though, is literally, I know it's our defense, is that he's underqualified to be at what you need to be, the top of the line in terms of military training. And when asked by the Senate, he wasn't on top of his game. Now, the three people that are of note that said no was Lisa Murkowski, who always says no, Susan Collins, who sometimes has a spine and says no, and Mitch McConnell.
Oh,
He said no. And I just thought that was interesting.
you did his face.
You really did.
Mitch McConnell.
I don't even think that's an insult. I think he would tell you he looks like
I have a neck. I will say, interesting point, but he was going to get confirmed. The bigger worries for me are the crazier ones, like the Matt Gaetz appointments. So,
Well, Matt Gaetz withdrew his.
yeah, because it got so crazy. So for me, this was going to happen. He's going to get past certain things. It's a shiny object to me, so we're getting distracted over here. He's not the best pick. Is he the worst pick in the whole wide world? No. Has he been in the military before? Yes, but that's a low bar that he stumbled into. But I guess I'm not.
What was the bar serving?
Yeah,
that
right.
he stumbled into?
What was the bar called?
It's a low bar, as he calls it, just well. It was a well bar, but I made it. Nothing but Skol vodka. But I'm a trooper.
So you're going to see a lot of this, and we're going to get frustrated. So I'm keeping my energy for the things that like really, really, really I need to do some action with. There's nothing I can do.
That's a great
I can't do
point.
it right. He was advised and confirmed. The Senate has the right. He has the right to pick his cabinet. I think the guy's underqualified, but it isn't a Matt Gaetz.
But this does affect a lot of people. He said that
Absolutely.
women should not serve in combat because they would distract male soldiers. So that's on you, ladies.
Yeah, and I do think they are coming for females in combat.
I can't believe he said that.
Yeah.
He
To
also
Tammy Duckworth.
immediately, Tammy Duckworth, who lost both of her legs in a helicopter accident, doing something heroic. He's going to tell her she
flew the helicopter.
I can't get into that.
Yeah.
But he also immediately went after trans Americans that wanted to serve and have been serving and have served for their entire lives. They were the first group that this fall down drunk went after.
And Trump did that in 2016 also, but
Also
then
a
Biden
draft dodger. I mean, this guy did go, but
and
it's
Biden
so interesting
reversed
the people
it,
that are allowed
and-
to make decisions on the government.
Right.
Sorry, I talked over you.
No,
Sam.
not at all.
But Trump this time said for people that were serving now had to get kicked out. Like in
Right.
2016, it was like they were allowed in still. Like this one went even further. 15,000 of our brothers and sisters who are trans in the military fighting for our country are getting kicked out.
Right.
That's crazy.
And let's not forget, he has a very, very plausible essay situation that was so dire that the nurse that examined the woman that he allegedly assaulted testified because she needed to be the nurse. I'm assuming she doesn't do that for every case. So I would say that yes, he's not the best candidate, and I'm very worried for this one thing, Sammy. And it's like, besides all the window dressing, when I think about somebody that's an alcoholic, I think about somebody that could be very easily bribed with some information that they might not want out, whether it's their behavior one night or something they said to a spy.
But that's not new to politics. So that unfortunately doesn't move the needle for me because to me, I see most politicians as walking billboards. So
Walking billboards for
for for the lobbying, whoever gives them money. So
well, that's usually after, and that was one thing that he didn't want to talk about because he initially said after you leave the the Defense Department, a lot of these people go in and work for private companies, and he said that they shouldn't be able to do that. And when he was asked, "Will he do that?" He said he hadn't thought about it yet.
It's called the revolving door of DC.
Yes,
one door in, one door lobbyist.
And explain that.
Yeah, once you're in politics and then you are off your term, you go into lobbyists and you make money and you lobby the very people that you were in with DC in, and it just goes back and forth and the same people stay and you get this money in politics that we've all had an issue with, and it's K Street.
And we say it over and over again, and it sounds at this point like you're looking out into DC with rose-colored glasses to take money out of politics. Do you ever think that'll happen?
No.
Never.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So here we are.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be.
That made me sad.
It'd be,
I got really
it
sad.
would be an interesting thought experiment
need
to
a
take
drink.
money out, but it can't happen. Sam, I want to come to you because I want to make this transition. Obviously, we're talking a lot about Trump's first executive orders. Obviously, a lot of them went after undocumented immigrants to this country. And Selena Gomez, famous singer, actor, went on her social media and made a heartfelt plea. She was kind of lamenting the laws that are affecting
videos of
and,
children and families.
But people came
during
after
raids.
her.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts on that video? And she has since deleted it, I believe. So just break down that whole situation. Like, what do you think?
Well, I don't want to make this political. I just want to make it about human rights. So I saw, similar to what Tori and John Iadarola were talking about today on the Young Turks. And again, I know that we have an immigration issue here in America. So I'm not going to pretend like there isn't problems at our borders. But for this specific topic, the videos that she saw are similar videos that we all saw, that if you have empathy and you put yourself in other people's shoes, it makes you cry. It breaks your heart. So for the people out there that said that Selena Gomez was being performative, how did that not move you? So if it were your family, would it move you? If it was somebody that looked like your family, would it move you? So for me, I can relate to Selena Gomez because I saw those videos and I too cried. I don't like to see a kid being dragged out of their home. And again, I'm not even going to bring up the current administration because I don't want to be political. I just want to come from what my heart tells me. And I believe that my heart is right. And that's all I can do. You can disagree with me all you want. I'm not going to fight you or debate you about it. But fight you.
Can you imagine
taking off my ear?
Put up those fisticuffs, eh?
But no, it made it, yeah. That's all I'll say.
I
Erica?
think there's an added layer to it as well, because I think to me, the subtext to that is when you are in great despair and you are very desperate and you're looking for help and answers, you go to the people that you consider, like someone who is able to do something to help you. So I don't even know if it was necessarily she just stumbled across videos. She's probably being hit up by all sorts of people who are in peril right now saying, this is what happened to my family. Can you
help?
Specifically, very successful, high profile, affluential Latina woman, help me.
Wow.
So that puts a different type of onus and stress on people.
I never thought about that.
Because the truth is, what is she to do?
And that's what she says in the video. She goes, I just wish I could help. I just wish I could help more. Almost begging the question that she must have been asked, what Erica so eloquently said, is as a third generation Mexican, she's with people in her family in Mexico. She's like, what do I do? How can I do this? I want to just let you guys know the change that happened, which is people finding her so cringe. The shift in the administration is churches, hospitals, and schools are no longer sanctuaries, so they can be raided at this point. And we're hearing language like a Texas teacher, I don't know if you guys heard this story, calling ICE as a tip and being like,
that.
yo, I have kids in my class that can't even speak English. Come to Texas, come to this class. When you're rounding up children and giving tips to lines of police forces, that's really reminiscent of a certain Germanic 1939 feeling. I'm not saying this is Hitler. I'm certainly saying these
you're
lines
saying your
get
heart
thin.
goes out to them.
There's a lot of
it does. Yeah,
there's
it
a lot of
does.
school districts though that are putting forth, and I won't name the one that I received a notice from, that are putting forth really carefully thoughtful information to protect
Good for them.
their undocumented students.
Good for them. Then.
And when you specifically are allowing for ICE to go into places of worship, their place of work, their schools, not only are you seeing a lot of people not showing up to their jobs, which is going to affect, there is a trickle down effect. It's going to affect the economy. You're seeing children who might not, they might lose out on parts of their education. That, again, affects the economy because our children are an investment to our future here. And then places of worship, I guess to some people, their faith is everything to them. That is the glue, and that allows them to be their best version of themselves. So I'm glad you brought it up. The only thing I wanted to underscore is there's a lot of people that are protecting their employees, they are protecting their students.
You're absolutely right.
And are we neglecting to think about just the residual effects
like
of
the fear?
What it must mean if my kids are sitting in a classroom and they see two of their classmates, either their desks are empty. What do you think? Kids are stupid?
Right.
They know what's going on. Imagine like they're already in places where they don't feel safe. They're already in places where they need to do tactical military style drills for not if but when a gunman comes in. And on top of that, people you see, human beings, familiar faces, are just kind of sucked up by
snatched
some
away.
kind of. It's going to be unnerving, and I think it's one of those things that over time will help to destabilize like how loyal people feel to this country if they feel like it's all good as long as I'm not gay, I'm not trans, I'm not undocumented, I have enough money, I can keep up with the Joneses, that I'm fine. But if anything happens, FEMA ain't there no more.
Totally.
All these things that were considered safety nets are now just like things that the government was doing to be nice, and they're just taking those away.
He might put new institutions in place. I think we need to give room for that. I'm not saying removing FEMA is right or wrong. Obviously, on the surface, it seems disastrous, but his whole point, like for instance, today, even though the courts quickly overturned it with banning federal aid and aid here, was that he wanted to take a pause. And I'm just trying to get the context right. Take a pause and re-look at the institutions that we are paying into to see how we could rework them. Now, that's what the narrative is.
Right. It just causes mass confusion.
Well, and also, I think, I'm just going to be 100% honest, destabilization is the goal.
Yes.
It is the goal. The goal is for us to turn on each other. We've been successfully doing that for quite some time, making one another the enemy as opposed to the betrayal of our government being the enemy. In terms of like insulation, and I tend to err on just a little bit more of a cautious side in terms of how I live my life. But now is really not the time to be making big purchases. It's really not the time to be thinking about things that are so far in the future, because I'm telling you right now, you're going to need so many resources and all of your emotional stability in order to get through what is inevitably going to happen over the next few years.
Shelley agrees. She says, I see a reason for families even to go underground.
And I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm really not. I just think that people
take it as fearmonger.
Yeah, I think that people need to be honest about how very vulnerable most Americans are. I think that we got into this, and I'm saying this we as in like a social media society, started to believe that what was being projected or the images that they were curating on social media were their actual lives. If everything were to go to hell tomorrow, how long could each of us survive? Like, if we really didn't have to depend on anything in terms of the government, how long would you survive? And I think that a lot of people in their minds believe that there's somehow, this conversation isn't about me. But we started this political campaign talking about the cost of eggs. If people aren't going to work in farms, if they're not going to work in factories, your eggs are the last thing you're going to have to think about. So I would be very, very clear with your families and start talking about how you are going to best help yourselves, help your neighbors, help your communities, because that is what we're going to have to do in order to survive.
I've got to plant some carrots now.
That should do it. That should get you through the weekend. Some of Tori's gross carrots.
Remember them on DBL? I had like 20.
They had one had warts all over.
You know what? That's called organic.
It was really gross.
That's what that's called.
I will say this before we move on, Erica. Those conversations are being had.
Yeah,
I'll just leave it at that. But let's think about something that's going to make us happy at least for one day. 2 Sundays from now. The Super Bowl. Are you having a party?
Are you having a party?
I am not having a party, but the reason why is because my brother and sister-in-law and 2 nieces live here now, and I couldn't hijack everything. They really wanted to host Super Bowl.
So are we invited to their
house? I think so. Yeah, I think I can invite y'all to the house.
That doesn't sound like an invite.
No, I think it would be.
I think so.
I don't want to, but I don't know. But I'm pretty sure, yes. I mean, they would be very excited to do that. And I didn't want to step on their toes.
Yes.
Plus, to be quite honest, you would rather go. It would be closer for you, Sam.
Oh, good. Okay.
It's like halfway in between. They're like right in the center of us. But anyway, you would rather go to a party that my brother's hosting than a party that I'm hosting, because my brother was on MasterChef.
Yeah, he's a great chef.
He does it. Goes all out. So the food is going to be great. So yeah, I'm excited, and I don't have to worry about it this year.
That's good. It's the Eagles versus the Chiefs.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
I don't watch football, but I watched like the last 30 seconds.
Can you name any of the people participating?
Oh yeah, I can. Travis Kelce.
Thank you.
Okay.
Taylor Swift.
Patrick
Mahomes. Somebody, Allen. Is that the one that from the Bills did not catch the ball? Allen.
It wasn't Allen.
Oh well, there was
Kincaid.
Well, poor
Allen
Kincaid,
threw the ball.
man.
Yeah.
I don't watch football, but I saw that last
Poor guy.
throw.
He dropped
I felt terrible. It wasn't even like I don't know anything about football, so I'm not trying to be like, it wasn't even a good.
Certainly talking a lot about it.
I felt bad for him.
Right, it was a very human moment. Yeah.
Well, he could have caught that ball. There was nobody in front of him. Like, I felt bad. He knows he could have caught that ball.
Right. Well,
Poor
I
guy.
mean, you're really kind of the target audience for this question I'm going to ask. Is like, you are going to go to a Super Bowl party, as I'm sure you've been to many. Yep. You know very little, if nothing, about football.
Yeah.
Self-admitted.
Yep.
So, are you excited about Kendrick Lamar, the halftime act?
I can't wait for Kendrick Lamar.
And SZA.
I can't wait.
What a cool way to introduce SZA.
I always love the commercials, but I will say I don't like that they roll them out early now. Mm-hmm. Like, right? We always will show a couple. Mm-hmm. At least we did on DBL. We showed one the other day on 9 News, and I'm like, it takes away the spontaneity of what actors are going to be on there and what's it going to be about. And so I typically love the commercials.
What about a teaser before the actual commercial?
For instance, there's a picture of Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan.
I love that.
And you're thinking
a teaser
When Harry Met Sally,
yes.
and you're like, whoa, they're going to be together, and it's clearly a Super Bowl.
I love that. Yeah. Then a picture.
Yeah,
but I
don't do too much.
Yeah, I saw the whole Post Malone commercial the other day, and I was like, man,
I don't know Kendrick Lamar. I know there's a feud, a fight, a quarrel with Drake. Mm-hmm. And I know SZA's coming on. I love SZA from a really cool documentary on Rick Rubin. She's actually studying meditative Buddhist as well.
She's also a singer.
Yeah. Well, I know, but I don't know the song. So what are you expecting as the big song? Because we have this tradition of finding out what song to be played.
Well, we know Not Like Us is going to be the
That's what the one I know. That's the one I know, right?
We know that's going to be.
Okay, here's the bigger one, Cobb. What's the first song? What does he open
comes
with?
Up? What opens?
What does Kendrick Lamar open the Super Bowl with? I'm going on record with Damn.
Oh, I agree with you.
I'm going with
a lot
Damn.
of a lot
You
of
start it, like,
boxers will use that as, and UFC fighters have used that as their walkout
Ooh, I
song.
like that.
So that's a really good point.
I'm going with Damn. What do you say, Erica?
I have no idea.
Okay, Tori.
I'm gonna go with Damn. But I also think that the way SZA's going to come out. Did you see the way the commercial? He's walking and talking, and SZA's behind with the big blue Gatorade, and she pours it on.
Oh,
him.
is that her that does it?
Yeah,
Okay.
the visuals of Kendrick Lamar has always been special and thoughtful, and I really appreciate
his SNL performance.
Amazing, unbelievable.
I knew you would know that because it's
very artistic.
Very artistic.
So I'm excited for
SZA
that.
holds like a very weird place in my heart.
And I think I know why.
Tell me.
Because you surprised your daughter with that concert.
Yes, when I surprised my daughter with the
knew
SZA
it.
concert.
Yep.
But it was weird because that was the first like, Dad, get away from me and my friend. You're old and gross. Because we were in front of the State Farm Arena. I was like, I'm gonna park and we'll walk over there. And my daughter was like, we're good. And I was like, no, I can park. And she was like looking at me, and I was like, oh no. And it was just that sad dad just listening to AM radio while the concert's going on, like an older weird gentleman. But yeah, and I also love SZA because I watched Fat Girls, which was Lizzo's backup singer. Yes.
Right.
And SZA was on there as a special guest a couple times, and she was so high. So high. And I was like, good for you. She ain't driving a school bus.
Yeah,
Good
right,
for her. Who cares?
right. She's an
She was
artist.
awesome, funny, just like engaging. She so high. And I was like, I love her so much.
That's funny.
I'm just too old to love her, and it won't be creepy.
But you and Erica both love football. So do you have a team?
I mean, football at this point, because I used to be so diehard, I would watch. I mean, when I moved here, because I get why people are so into their teams and stuff. When I moved here to Denver from Chicago, that was like my big sense of community every Sunday, going to a Bears bar and watching it with other Chicagoans who, moved to Denver. But in latter years, we are season ticket holders for the Broncos and have been for a decade. And I enjoy going, but it's not like, I'm not going to pretend like I'm really keeping up with what's happening in the NFL, because I'm not.
You're busy.
Yeah, I'm not. But I do enjoy it. Like, it's a great, like, I hope that we keep those tickets forever, because I can see, like, bringing our nieces or kids,
Yeah.
So,
That'll be fun.
so it is.
So you're more
it's
for the
nice-
halftime show then?
Yeah, but
you're not invested in a
into,
team.
Like, I will be invested. Like, I'll find something to be invested in.
Nice.
Right.
Like, yeah,
But it's not your Chargers or your Bears.
right. No,
Got
no,
it.
no.
I think
Like
that's one thing that the Super Bowl does, and it may be because there's a big chunk of time, but they do a great job of creating storylines.
Yeah,
So
narratives,
there
for
are
sure.
things that, like, something Sam. Oh, like, I know that Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback, like, I think his grandfather, somebody's in hospice. He just had a baby. There are very human things that go on in these 2 weeks.
His wife's name is Brittany.
Right. You get to. There we go. We're just gonna throw that little nugget in there.
I know the grass is
know
green.
what I'm talking
on
about.
the field.
All right. Well,
And
let's.
Taylor Swift.
Wait, really quickly, who are you rooting for? You love football.
Oh, I love football, but I'm a Browns fan, so I just
you're
I just love the game. Like,
Who are you betting on? Let's
Yeah.
go that way.
I bet prop bets.
I don't know what that
what
means.
does that mean?
I don't know.
Prop
I feel
bet.
like there's a top hat involved with prop bets. Da-da-da-da, the king.
Will Patrick Mahomes pull the Muppet out of the box? Yeah, no. Prop bets are just kind of like, will Sam have 10 and a half yards rushing? Will she have more than that or less than that?
With a Gatorade color be green or blue.
That's
Maybe
what I
I'll
like
get
that.
into. Can
I
I
like
get
prop
into
bets.
prop bets?
Yeah, she can
like
get into
prop-
how long the national anthem
Anthem
is.
Oh,
is,
Right.
even
right.
like what song will Kendrick Lamar start?
Sure.
I like
Yeah.
stuff like
I
that.
do
Yeah,
like that.
Prop bets.
send me a link to
Yeah.
your prop bet place.
I think
Okay.
there's squares. Something about squares.
No, but there's also prop bets on
Squares.
websites.
Your
Yeah.
squares is a game.
No,
we
no,
play.
but that's contingent upon how much money is in the room. I want to know contingent upon how much money is on Earth.
Oh.
There we go.
Two different things.
Something Cobra Commander would say. I want all the money on
Dr.
Earth.
Evil.
You should be.
Well,
Erica
the
came here
first
straight from
time-
a cave that opened up, like out of a mountain.
I was actually in a cave just a couple weeks ago because my friend got married in a cave. However,
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
yeah.
She showed me pictures.
I just feel I have a good feeling about this prop bet situation for me to get really into the Super Bowl, because the first time that I went to Vegas and actually went to the sports book, I did a 4-game parlay and I won, and that was 1 in 11 odds. And
How much did you win?
I only put down like I didn't put down a lot of money. I put down maybe like $20 or something.
And
but
briefly
I
tell
won.
everybody what
Yeah.
that means. Like you put it on a 4. Like what does that mean when you put down a
4-game parlay?
parlay?
So it was 4 college football games, and I bet on all 4, and I won all 4 of my bets. So that was 1 in 11 odds on like $20. So
Yeah.
I think it ended up being like $200
You
dollars.
could, if you put $1,000 down,
Well,
10,000 down.
That's when you
Yes,
become
we
an
understand
addict.
how money works.
Yeah, no.
When it goes up,
this
it
was
goes
like
up.
early. I $20 was that was enough for me to put down.
Wow.
Especially
But
at
Erica
that time.
also has a little bit of the bug because when I went to Vegas with her, I was like, I gotta go to
From
bed.
what you remember.
Yeah, but that's different.
Are we taking her? I don't want to hear anything about what happened in Vegas. You
was
didn't make it off of the train
She did.
to
She-
get to the plane.
I had
Yes,
COVID and I didn't know.
We all had COVID.
That was my presenting symptom, fainting on the train.
We all
Yeah.
the alien
we all
train.
COVID. We all, and then Al said this. You guys are texting like you've never been outside in the world before.
But Erica, I could not keep up with in
She was
Vegas.
amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing.
She was incredible.
I was one time eating soup at 4 a.m. just watching her play
What?
craps, and I was like,
lasted till
amazing.
3, and I'm like,
Oh,
and
it was
Erica looked like
amazing.
you reminded me of my husband Mark, because my husband Mark can turn up through the night.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
slowly am getting chopped down.
Yeah.
And
That's how I am.
I literally have to psych myself up. Like, you can do this, Sam. You're only here like once a year, and then I could see it in Erica. I was like, oh my God, she has Mark in her. And
got a
all of a
swing.
sudden,
Yeah.
yep, she was
Second.
getting like more and more energized, and I was getting lower and lower.
That's just, I don't know what it is. Anthony used to say, he's like, I've never met anyone where like, if he has a glass of wine or something, then he's like, oh, I might be tired. If I have a glass of wine, I might as well have had 4 Red Bulls because I'm like,
That's so
That's
weird.
doing Mark. Mark's
it's
the
just-
same way.
It's crazy. So I remember like years ago, someone that I came of age with in the nightclubs and stuff. And I remember her saying something about how she was using a certain substance.
Was
in
she
order
skiing
to
on the
keep
slopes?
her- yes.
Okay.
Get
In
it,
order
everyone?
to keep her going, going throughout the night. And she
Coffee.
looked at me and she goes, how else would I have been up to 6 o'clock in the morning? And I just looked her dead in the face and said, I was with you and I wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, have you ever tried to do that maybe without it? Maybe that's in your superpower too.
Yeah.
But I had to think about it. Like, has everyone around me been on something
Yes.
other than
Absolutely.
alcohol?
And then
Erica.
Erica's just high on life.
You know,
I
I used
have
to
no
think-
idea.
when I would go to a bar.
No idea.
She is. She gets high on life.
When I go to like bars and it's like anytime past like 1:30, I'm always like, there's a lot of wide awake 36-year-olds in here.
That's a good point.
How'd that happen,
I've
guys?
never that never ever crossed my mind. So in my mind, I'm thinking like I wasn't even a great candidate for it. I mean, my mother scared me far, far away from things like that before. She's like, you have a very addictive personality. If you try anything, you will get hooked. So never do anything. So I was always like, okay, like I'll stick with the champagne.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I guess my entire adulthood, I've been around people at 6 o'clock in the morning,
or
on
people like
something
you and
different.
Mark, where they're just
They get another swing.
Yeah.
They get lively at night.
Yeah.
Little air there.
That is definitely a superpower where alcohol is a stimulant to you. So God bless you. I've never I didn't know that was real, but apparently it is. Let's get back to some news that's always been making the way. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So with the removal of DEI from a lot of major big box stores, we all know Target, Home Depot, everywhere for the most part.
Costco's resisting it.
That's where we saw the video.
Okay, yes. Apparently Costco is resisting, but individuals are talking about resisting in the form of boycotts, which is usually how resistance is garnered by the masses. So I was really kind of intrigued by this story, not in that major corporations are doing something. There's been a boycott. I mean, we saw that with Bud Light, but more because this was the first time that the individual items contained within these big box stores we're starting to hear from these people. And it's not the the nameless Target, the faceless Target that I always talk about. These are faces that are associated with these products, and they're saying, "I'm a black woman."
Tabitha Brown.
Yeah. I have a friend of mine whose sister had cocoa butter in Targets. I'm not sure if they still are, but I know for a fact that she was. They're
taking away Tabitha Brown.
So
no,
Erica, please take it away.
So essentially, when the DEI rollback started being announced for these big box stores, entrepreneurs like Tabitha Brown, who have brands that are in conjunction with, partnership with Target, have been speaking out about the idea that they're still small businesses, and they're, the way that they're growing is through these brands, and they weren't given any type of heads up that these cuts and rollbacks and turns were coming in terms of DEI. And so a lot of people have decided to boycott some of these big box stores. And what they're saying is, by boycotting the stores, it's giving them more fuel for the fire to eliminate some of these smaller brands that are owned by people of color. So essentially, by boycotting Target, you're also contributing to the demise of their positioning in those stores.
Well, that's why I saw not a boycott, a boycott. And I have never seen anything like this. And there's video, the Reverend Al Sharpton. I always give it up to the Reverend. I do. He's an amazing human being. And he led a group of an enormous amount of people. Open the door, and Sam, just as you said Costco, I was about to say it. They walked into Costco and started buying it up because Costco is not taking part in this. And certain companies are being listed as, we refuse to go with the DEI rollback. So places like Elf Cosmetics, I'm just giving this out for people who want to use their consumership as their power. Buy and be discerning. This is your only time to do so. Use your wallet thoughtfully. So if you are to do that, look for companies that are not rolling back DEI, that are sticking by them. And that's what the Reverend did. And it was an amazing video to watch.
What would you say to somebody that's like, what you're saying, Tori, is fine and good? Maybe, Sam, you want to answer this. What Tori's saying is great, and I agree with it. But I have 4 kids. And on Saturday, we have 3 things and 2 practices to get to. I don't have time to be a discerning buyer. I need to go to Target.
I think both can be true. I do. I think some people are really struggling right now, and they're going to buy from the dollar store wherever they can to just keep them and their family eating. I mean, people are really struggling right now. That doesn't take away from still being a thoughtful consumer. But yes, if a brand that you ideally in a perfect world would like to contribute to doesn't fit within your family's finances right now, I understand that too. Because I know that some people can barely, keep the heat on. I mean, we report on it all the time. There's people that have never been in shelters there for the last decade, and just recently they're starting to use resources like local food banks, pantries. I mean, we're seeing here in Denver more usage of these resources than ever before. And it's not so much because, our unhoused population is out of control. And I understand that too, I do. But it's also because a lot of people don't have community around them, and they don't have a job. And to Erica's point earlier, how long can you survive? And if at some point you're on the street.
Absolutely.
So I think both can be true. Is that okay to say?
Yes, I think that's more realistic.
Well, I think that anytime there is no absolute for really anything.
Except for how gorgeous I am.
Well, I mean, that's the exception to the rule every time. Yes, Tori's
Thank
beauty.
you.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, we really don't live in a world of absolutes. And I know that that's hard to imagine, because if you go online, you would think that's how it is. It's like all or nothing, But I think realistically, when someone says, hey, if you're going to perhaps boycott Target, consider these particular brands that are going to suffer. And then someone else responds with, well, what if we only buy from particular brands at these stores? And then someone else responds with, well, we're also a minority-owned company that isn't a part of this type of infrastructure. What about us? You can still support us over here. And then other people are like, I did the whole thing and I stopped shopping and blah, blah, blah. And you guys won't get on board. And if everyone won't get on board, then there's going to be no change. And it's like all of these different, ideas that are coming at people at all times. And it's like, realistically, people have to make decisions based on what's happening in their lives, And I know that people don't want to hear that because, you hear all the time, like, protest is hard and you should be uncomfortable. And all of those things are true. But whose discomfort? What's the level of discomfort? What is the quality of discomfort that one must feel in order to be an active protester or to make a difference? Right. And I think for each person that looks a little different. And I'm not talking about people who are just not committed to doing anything. I'm talking about people who are very well-meaning, meanings about it and thinking, I want to help. I also know that no one's coming to save me. So how do I do this without taking down, myself or my family?
Well, just as you're speaking, Erica, and I'm going to throw this out to all of you guys, but what you said made me think of something right on the spot. When I go to buy bagged coffee at the grocery store, not bragging, I'm a regular person, put my pants on one leg at a time. But,
How else are you supposed to
it is very obvious the pro-Trump, pro-America brands. There's a violence. It's like black machine gun coffee, 4 barrels of, like literally.
Yeah, it's like arsonist.
It really is flamethrower batch, Marine black ops. I'm like, what the F is happening?
Why are
buying
so
coffee? You're next to Seattle's best. Calm down. And I'm wondering, are we going to see a branding like that for the left? What would that look like? Because I think the right has a default.
Yeah, there's rainbow colored things. And
there already is.
Diverse things.
But is that the left? Because if I see rainbow, I don't know if like I would I'd assume it's left.
There's a lot of rainbow washing, but there's also a lot of companies that are LGBTQ plus run and they really stand behind their message and their branding.
Okay, but
I would think the right would think that is a little bit forced down their throat if they're just trying to grocery shop. That's their narrative.
But definitely AK-45 coffee beans are not.
That sounds like a threat to my colon.
I've seen those coffees.
You know what I'm talking about? Like
they're so strong.
I'm always like, what?
Yeah, but I mean that's Black Rifle Coffee. That's one of the brands that came because a lot of right wingers were like, I don't like going to Starbucks and talking to somebody with pink hair. That was like this narrative. And so the Black Rifle Coffee never, I think, commercially in terms of having fixed locations that you could go to. But Black Rifle Coffee.
You can stop saying the name now.
Oh, they are. I know. They are a niche.
We're not
the best.
Paid.
It's Folgers.
Jeez.
They are a niche.
Breeze.
The best
I'm saying
waking up.
They found a home base, and I'm wondering, would the left be able to have some kind of branding that is the equivalent of like military, American Eagle, American flag?
You know who does that well? I'll tell you exactly who does this well. 2 names, 2 guys. Mr. Ben and Mr. Jerry's. Those guys do.
Mr. Jerry's?
Okay. You didn't have to pull that
They put it all out
Ben
on
and
the
Jerry's,
line.
go to their Instagram. They
Whether
are
you like it, them or not.
Extremely progressive, and they put their whole mind, body, and soul into it.
But they've been established in the market for 40 years.
Yeah, but they've taken stances. When they take a stance, they take it from the beginning. You see a lot of companies will pile on after they see the temperature of the climate.
They don't
like
care.
Ben and Jerry's came out right away and said they're pro-Palestine. So that for them was a big a risk for their bottom line. And, once people started to have dialogue about it, then maybe it would have been seen as less controversial if they then put out that statement. But like I said, they week 1. So Ben and Jerry's is very bold. I think that's a great example, whether you agree with their stances or not.
Is it as good as Black Rifle Coffee?
Stop saying it.
Okay, seriously.
I have
an
obligation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
You have to leave?
You were going to get up right in the middle.
You guys, I have to be there.
Oh, no.
We love you, Sam.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. See you. Okay. All right. Take your mesh bag with you. What are you going to a water park?
Oh, my gosh.
Splash zone.
For the pool.
Oh my gosh. I will say this because I do believe in, especially when we're talking about specific brands and stuff like that. I do believe in the power of the tongue. That's why I was like, stop saying that name, because if you don't support it, why even acknowledge it? However, I do think circling back to what you were saying earlier about like, you have children and there's places you need to be, and that makes a lot of sense in terms of why people shop and have the habits that they do. But I do think that there comes times where you can be very intentional about how you're spending your money and why. Case in point that I just thought about was, when I went to DC and Tori's dad was so gracious and generous.
He wishes she were his daughter.
To like pick me up from, the train station and like, drop me off, like really help me that day. When I sent him flowers from a Black-owned florist in DC that was close. And I was intentional about looking up where, like, all the florists and finding a Black-owned florist. And I think that some people are just a little bit more intentional in those moments. Like, it's not every day that I'm sending flowers to DC. So if I'm doing it,
that
then
could be
maybe...
the name of the movie.
Yeah. Oh my God, you're right. Flowers to DC.
Flowers to DC.
Tori is taken from us by a horrible accident.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
I just talked about the power of the tongue. Good. You follow up with that.
Sadly, Tori's gone.
Like, I'm putting protection over you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But no, so I'm just saying, when there's things, Valentine's Day is coming up.
I'm sorry, Sam. We're still doing a show back here. Pack up your mesh bag and...
Chef Pat.
Well, I didn't hear Chef Pat. I just heard you going on and on about something no one cares about.
Did you guys want to hear my song for Chef Pat?
Yes.
Chef Pat, when you're hungry and you give your tummy a pat.
You rhyme
Pat with Pat. That's the joke. That's the funny part.
And
so Valentine's Day is coming up.
Continue.
And you can be intentional about where you buy.
Yes.
So support, some of your small businesses that you want to make sure that they're getting amplification. I think that's really important.
And I think just supporting good folks. Like, we were joking, but like Chef Pat is a super dope dude.
Yeah, good call.
I'm sure he would cater your Super Bowl party. So don't just do the default, and I'm almost more talking to myself than anybody, and just go, oh, I need a caterer, Google caterer Denver. Just be like, oh yeah, Chef Pat, the homie. So like, look to your friends, look to the people around you, and patronize them as well.
Yeah, I like to go to cocktail bars that are female owned. I like like the sports bars that are coming that are female owned. Those are important to me.
You like to go to female owned sports bars?
Yeah, because they play.
What's their name?
So the Sports Bra, if you didn't know, was a store that opened in Minneapolis. I think I'm making that up.
I think you're making.
But they're only showing women's sports solely, only. And they were like, "What are we gonna do?" They sold out every night. There was a line out the door. So and now they're coming to Denver and they're
fake
franchising, and I'm going to support that. So I would go out and get a drink
women's
there.
Sports aren't on 24/7.
Internationally,
what do they do
are
outside of basketball season.
There's a soccer game, Al. There's field hockey. There's lacrosse.
You're going to a bar to watch field hockey?
Hey, I gotta spread the field. I gotta look.
Wow.
I gotta look at the field.
And that's how ideas get shot down on
Phoenix.
Shark Tank.
Wait, is PDX Phoenix?
Yes.
Oh, Phoenix has sports.
No, PDX is Portland.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I apologize.
But
Portland is sports
okay. Well, it's a real thing. I would just think that, aren't you pigeonholing yourself? Because I would think a lot of women would also want to be like, hey, I want to watch Super Bowl. And they're like, nope, women's field hockey in New Hampshire is on. Like, aren't you kind of hamstringing yourself a little bit by assuming your female clientele doesn't want to watch it?
I'm not solely doing it, but I am supporting it because I've thought about it. Julie is letting us know women play flag football now.
Okay.
Is that what you just pull the flag?
I'm laughing at Slotty Daddy that says not many people are getting their Super Bowl parties catered. Slotty Daddy, I would just like to let you know that that Al has been very spoiled by my Super Bowl party.
Yes.
Okay.
You're totally right.
It's not because I'm super bougie, although I absolutely can be. It's because I'm super lazy and I do not have any culinary art in my blood.
And can I just tell Sloppy Daddy this?
It's not Sloppy Daddy, okay?
What's his name?
Slotty Daddy.
Okay.
Slotty? I think he's like a slot guy.
Okay. Oh, Slotty Daddy. Yes, that's a different.
Or he's a different kind of daddy.
Sloppy Daddy is like what your girlfriend finds in your cookies. Like, what sites are you going to? What's the Sloppy Daddy?
Oh, the cookies on your computer. I was like, ew. That's why I don't eat at everybody's houses. You know what I mean?
I will say this, Slotty Daddy. I do not get my parties catered. I cook. I love to cook. I made all.
You're
the
really
food.
good at the ribs.
And my girl makes the best dips in the world.
I heard about your last party.
Was it catered?
I heard. Yeah, catered by a bag of chips.
That was all.
That's what I heard.
Oh, that is such a lie.
Okay.
Wait, what party?
You invited people over.
No food?
And there
Wait,
was
you
a
talking
bag
about
of chips.
The DBL party, the end of DBL?
No, you had people over and there was a bag of chips.
I made my world-class wings. Sar made her original buffalo chicken dip. And
when were they made? Because here's the other thing about Al. Al thinks he's slick. I'm just going to be real. Like, I'm going to give it to you straight, right?
Please.
Al will have parties or he'll invite people over. And then you get there and he's talking about what he's going to make. Now, you cannot.
Such a lie.
Am I wrong?
Everything
Am
is
I
already
wrong?
Why would I make stuff once people get there?
The times I've come to your house and you were like, oh, I'm going to have people over. And then I walk in and I'm like, oh, can I have this half a sandwich that's in your refrigerator? Because
Tori,
I'm hungry now.
You had ribs
Tori,
and wings.
This is how I will defend myself.
Okay.
Because you know my girl Sar. She is such a warrior that she couldn't let that. She would be. We need to
have too much food.
We need to, not even too much, but she'd be like, you should prep that. We need like she's very. She would
organized.
It would force me to make the food because she would make herself crazy. I made the wings and they were ready. What I did was I stopped them 10 minutes early so they'd be nice and warm when people got there. So I could put fresh lime and fresh lemon juice
Chef
on there.
Pat,
buddy.
is that what you do?
So
you
that's
wait?
what's up.
You're okay doing
so
that?
Disrespectful with the lies.
Someone said Al just likes to keep it fresh.
And look, Winnie,
Winnie's
as we're
letting
starting,
us know.
we got a few already doing better than Sam.
No, Sam, we love you.
Yes.
Oh my God.
He always tells us when it's time
Yes.
to go.
All right. So we got 3 minutes to go.
I do want to tell you guys a quick story.
All right.
No, I mean, I wanted to get a story out.
Yes.
Google is allowing Gulf of America on their Google Maps.
What?
I feel like I jumped in too soon.
No,
just feel
Erica,
like
do not bail her out.
No, I just
I
feel
want to
like
hear the rest
Yeah, I
of this.
agree. I don't really want to talk about it
Gulf
either.
of America
Yeah.
feels like the
I thought you meant
putt
the sport
behind
golf.
Gulf of America, like behind Mall of America, doesn't it? It feels like there's like a putt behind the Mall of America.
And an
That's
arcade.
the Gulf of America.
Erica,
It
let
is.
me really quickly explain because I was confused.
I'm so sorry.
We're talking about when Trump said he's going to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America.
Yeah.
I thought that there was I thought you were talking about like Top Golf. Would that be on maps or something?
You know,
That's what it sounds
It
like.
does.
I mean, it kind of.
and he loves golf. That's funny.
Erica, we're kind of joking about this silly subject, but with a few minutes, what do you think is behind this? Is this just more of the destabilization? Because this is it seems like a frivolous thing.
I think that everybody needs to pay attention to, first of all, just given what's happened in the past 24 hours, I'd be first paying attention to if you're on Medicaid.
Social security issues, yeah.
Those things, I would really be paying attention to that. I would be paying attention to what's happening with the IRS and the idea that they aren't adding more workers during tax time. I know a lot of y'all are waiting on those returns, and that could potentially cause some delays.
Along with maybe stop federal aid.
Yeah, and grants for people in trials.
I would be worried about, a lot of things that are going to direct you expeditiously. I don't know how else to say it. And so this feels like something that takes off because it is so ridiculous and it's something that gets people's attention. But I think that throwing things like this out to the American public to get people debating on if the Gulf of Mexico should be changed to the Gulf of America is taking your eye off the ball for things that are imminently endangering and threatening your well-being and the well-being of your families.
I agree with her. I call it the shiny object. It's dangle, 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 dangle. And be honest, I watched The Apprentice. I don't know if y'all seen it. Not The Apprentice. The Apprentice, but the movie with Sebastian Stan and Jeremy Strong.
Oh,
it shows.
I'm thinking
Trump's
of My Left Foot.
Okay, well that's not it.
Okay.
Yeah. But what about it?
It shows how he was taught Donald Trump by Roy Cohn the shiny object trick, and he does it masterfully. So I completely agree with Erica here. And also, we should all go out for Top Golf. Yeah. Wouldn't that be fun?
I don't like Top Golf.
Is it because of the golf?
Erica, what's going? Oh, you don't like Top?
Is it the
I've
golf?
never been.
I just like the. Booze.
I don't want to. Is it weird?
It's not that
I don't want to be
like
anywhere.
it. It's just
You don't like
like
leaving your house.
It's not like it's just not my thing.
Fair.
I finally went golfing, and I did an 18 holes.
Yeah, but in
rounds,
Hawaii, on
whatever.
the most beautiful course.
Right. Well, that was the reason why I went, because we were in Hawaii and it was a beautiful course. And then my husband's like, "Oh, we could do this in Denver." I was like, "Oh, no. I only do it in Hawaii."
Yes.
She gets them catered.
Yeah, so that's how you get me.
That's always the catch.
Get me to
Yeah.
golf.
Take me to Hawaii. We can go
So
golfing every
Top
weekend.
Golf I would do in Hawaii.
All right, and on that note, a very relatable note to everybody. I will just say, Night Owls, we appreciate you guys
So much.
Like, not only the amount of subs, but the continued support. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure to check us out Friday because we got another show coming. And with that said, for my girl Erica Cobb, my girl and TYT participant today,
Maybe
Tori-
host, maybe
Yes.
continuing. Well, fingers crossed.
I was
everyone.
just going to say your name,
Okay.
but no,
So sorry.
please.
Oh my gosh.
And myself, Al Jackson. We appreciate you. We appreciate you, Night Owls.
Hoot hoot.
See y'all next week.